is cut into. You cut into everything to see what is inside that. So the Indian rishis of yore, they did this science inside, and we in the Western science look outside. We have been able to go to the moon. For what, I don't know. We have been able to go to the Mars. And India, which has got a large load of children dying of malnutrition, 47 million in all, much bigger than the sub-Saharan Africa of 42 million. We have money to go to the moon and the Mars, but we don't have money to feed them. We have money to give them vaccination when the textbook says, don't vaccinate a malnourished child because it doesn't have immunity. But we vaccinate only malnourished child because the vaccine company gets benefit. See the difference? So money has come. I'll tell you about money. But before that, let us finish this mind business. So reductionist science is, what is chocolate made up of? Cocoa, sugar, milk. So I study milk in great detail. I am a milkologist. And I write papers on milk. Then I am a cocoologist. I write papers on cocoa. The third fellow is a sugarologist. He writes on sugar. Now, sugar, you give to the child and say, is this chocolate? Child says, no, this is not chocolate. But for me, sugar is chocolate because chocolate is made of sugar. So I take a cell from the liver, study that, and then project it onto the whole human body and say, oh, this is a cancer in the human body. We all have cancers every day. Did you know that? From these children to us. If I scan you now, all of us have not one cancer, but 10 to 15 cancers. But they don't become clinical cancers and kill you. They die. Do you know when they die? When you help others. Swamiji is asking me, okay, when you can help others, you can feel happy. But how do they die? That was Swamiji's doubt. I'll tell you how. Our ancestor said, Paropakara idam shariram. Your body is for someone else. And how true it is, because, as I said, Minisab, Apnam, Yam Kya? Khatto? Vallabai. Vallabai and myself are such close relatives. He has 100 trillion cells, I have 100 trillion cells. They love one another so much that I almost would have become one with Vallabai but for the immune system. We all would have been one cell mass called syncytium but for the immune system, because our cells love one another. Supposing I hate Vallabai, my cells get confused. What's this ass doing? I love Vallabai cells. This fellow wants to hate him. So eventually my cells hate my own cells. Because they don't know, because my cells are as good as Vallabai cells. There's no difference at all. So if I hate Vallabai cells, my cells hate me. So those who hate others very, very badly, called hostility, they get what is called autoimmune disease. Your own cells kill your own cells. Supposing I hurt Vallabai, I am hurting my own hand. To that extent it is harmful. Similarly, if I go out of my way to do something for Vallabai, though of course he doesn't need anything, supposing I do something for him, my cells become so happy that my immune system gets so boosted up that I never get any disease. And if I have a disease, the disease goes away. But two things make you have cancer from those cancers which you have every day. One is hatred, what is called hostility. The other one is eating a lot. If you eat, overeat and eat, cells say, oh, there's plenty of food, let me grow. So, if you are frugal in eating, exercising and helping others, paropakaraartham idam shariram, most, if not all diseases disappear on their own. I have written an article on grudgitis. Appendicitis you understand, tonsillitis you know, grudgitis you didn't know. Grudgitis is a much more dangerous disease than tonsillitis. Tonsillitis you can just drink hot water and the tonsil will be alright. But grudgitis no, you have got to leave that grudge. Grudge is the greatest worry and the greatest burden on your head when you walk. Life is too short to encourage grudge. But life is not short enough to love everyone. That is why universal love is the most important thing. We have now changed the definition of health. Health is not absence of disease, which is impossible to attain. All of us have some disease because our definition is such that you can't not have disease. Because we don't have anything called normal in biology. What is normal? They say, oh, your normal blood pressure. I said, what is normal? We don't have normal. We have average. Let us say we have checked 100,000 people and they plotted their BP with a Gaussian curve, mean plus 2 standard deviation, we say. It's keeping on changing depending on the need of the companies. You know, when I was a student, we were told 160 by 110. Above that, you think of drugs. Below that, you change the mode of life living. Because Sir George Pickering was the greatest researcher on hypertension. He has written a monograph. George at one stage wrote, I quote, anti-hypertensive drugs, blood pressure lowering drugs, deny man of the 3 important things of life enshrined in the American Constitution's preamble in 1772 written by Thomas Jefferson. What is that? Life, liberty and happiness, pursuit of happiness. He says life you are not sure with or without drugs when you die. Liberty you don't have because there are a lot of restrictions. You can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't do this, you can't do this. And pursuit of happiness, happiness is gone. So, if you really want that, then that's what he said. More, I quote him again, this is a very important sentence, make him by heart it. More people make a living in this world of hypertension, OFF, than dying of it, OF. Did you get that? More people in this world live of hypertension than dying of it. Hypertensive drugs, anti-hypertensive drugs, the biggest money spinner for this world. And we are very happy because we want stocks to go up, we want our money to go up, we want everything to go up. I'll just digress for a minute. You must have all heard about swine flu. No? You ran around with that mask and all and never went anywhere and did all that. Whole thing was a hoax to make money. Did you know that? No. See, in every winter season in Europe and America, flu is a common thing. This is a minor illness syndrome. 4 minor illness syndromes make you more sick than heart attack and cancer. You probably didn't know about that. You are only talking about cancer, diabetes, hypertension. No. 4 things. Sore throat, flu-like illness, common cold, and feverish cold. Did you know this? In Europe, in winter, 50 million people do not go to work because of one of these 4 diseases. And all these 4 diseases require Indian treatment. What's that? When you have a cold, the virus lives in your nose and that's bugging you. You can't breathe enough. And you go and take a tablet. What does it do? Temporarily it gives you relief because it closes your blood vessels. Afterwards it opens it wide and you get more further congestion. Then you get cough. Then you may even get asthma. Instead of that, when you get the first few sneezes, go home, ask your mummy for a bowl of water, boil it, and the fume comes up, close your mouth, don't go very close because it will burn you, little distance. Breathe that fume in and out, maybe for 5 minutes. Your nose becomes 1 degree centigrade warmer and the virus dies. And next day you are fine, you can go work. This treatment is free. That is why it is not popular. Did you get that? Suppose you get sore throat. Do you know the best treatment? Sip hot water. If you don't like water, many of you don't like water. Sip hot tea, doesn't matter. But keep on sipping for about half an hour so that the throat temperature and your head temperature goes up by 1 degree centigrade, germs die. But who wants to do that? Suppose you get a flu-like illness. Simply sit at home, don't go for work, rest. Number 2, plenty of water. Number 3, eat in moderation. And next day, you are okay. On the contrary, you take one of these blood-lowering drugs, fever-lowering drugs. They are the deadliest. The body wants the temperature to go up to kill the germ. You want to lower it. So this fellow will be off color for about a week or 2. This is called malaise. And then it will depress the immune system so that a secondary infection comes, you get permanent cough, hacking cough. Then you take a cough syrup, it suppresses the cough and it becomes a pneumonia. Cough syrups are banned in all countries except India. Most countries, not all countries. Cough should be treated for the cause and not the symptom. Cough is an indication there is something wrong. Find out what is wrong or ask your doctor to find out what is wrong and treat that. Cough can be tuberculosis, cough can be pneumonia, cough can be cancer, cough can be anything. Cough can be simple cough. And if you suppress the cough, if you have said, let us say, cancer inside the lung, for a long time you don't know that cancer is there unless the cancer comes out of your mouth. So symptom treating is bad. That's why I said when you have a first symptom, what does it mean? Your immune system cannot cope with what is wrong and it has failed. So he gives you, then you go to a good doctor. I was telling you the good doctor is a family doctor because he knows all about you, etc. etc. Then we went at the tangent. Come back. Now when this doctor has seen you and advised something, follow it faithfully and have faith in him. Faith in him. That will provoke your immune system and cure it. I was telling about a study which was done in Oxford, Cambridge, Hamburg and Munich and published in 2012 in one of the most prestigious journals called Science Translational Medicine, STM. This study showed severe pain, irrespective of what the cause of the pain is. They were running a drip of morphine into the patient and doing his fMRI, functional MRI, to see what the brain does, and told the patient, this is not morphine. This is a new vitamin we have found out for your pain. So you will not get pain relief, but you will get relief of your disease. Not a single person got pain relief. Then they took that patient, crossover to study the other side, ran saline drip, salt water, and told the patient, this is morphine. You knew salt or morphine. Everybody's pain went. Now they found out from the fMRI that when the patient believed it is morphine, when it was only saline, the forebrain produced such powerful opioids, much more powerful than morphine, that the pain disappeared. When it didn't believe it was morphine and it was morphine, what was happening to the forebrain? It slept. Nothing happened. So, placebo. They said, you see a doctor, a good doctor, you see him. And then if he says, hey, don't worry, you're all right. You'll be all right. Kai Rashi solvang. In South we say Kai Rashi. Kai Guna. Touch. Touch is a very powerful thing. You transfer your biological energy, you just tap him on the back and say, hey, you're all right. Don't worry. You must be generous with your patient. And then he will be all right. But we have become nocebo doctors. We see the patient and say, oh my God, this looks like a cancer. Maybe maximum you have got about 6 months to live. I don't know how we say that. We are worse than the astrologers. Many times what happens is the patient is very bold and doesn't believe this doctor, he'll outlive the doctor and attend his funeral. Scientifically, a quantum physicist who teaches physics in Strathclyde University in Glasgow, William Firth, has written a beautiful article in the British Medical Journal, Chaos, Doctors Predicting the Unpredictable Future of Patients. Please read this, you will understand it because he wrote it in the Christmas issue. Christmas issue of the BMJ is reserved for light sort of science which ordinary man can understand. Please read this, I'll give you the reference if you want. W.J. Firth. You go to the Google and say Firth W.J. Article's name is Doctors Predicting the Unpredictable Future of Patients. Even when you go to a doctor and say fever and you, doctor, I've got a very important board meeting tomorrow. Don't worry, take it 3 times, tomorrow you'll be all right. Bloody doctor doesn't know a damn about what he's talking. Don't worry. And this is in the British Medical Journal, write down, BMJ. You go to the Google, free it is available. BMJ 1991. Okay? Then semicolon 303. Then colon 1565. Did you get all that? You will get the article, read it. One reading may not help you, read it about 4 or 5 times. You will get to know how foolish we doctors are in predicting your future because quantum physics, there is no future. It is yet to be born. Future is not born. Yesterday is dead, so why worry about yesterday? I always tell my students who are worried about the exams and all, forget 2 days in a month, year I say, you will be happy. What are the 2 days? Yesterday and tomorrow. You are happy. Today you are happy anyway. So I always tell them, work as if you are going to die just now. So you become very kind. When you think you are going to die the next minute, you are kind to everybody. You have no enemies, no grudge, no nothing. But plan like you are going to be immortal. Otherwise this world cannot go on. Everybody tomorrow says, I am going to die right now and I am not going to do anything. We will not eat also. So plan as if you are not going to die at all. Work as if you are going to die the next minute. Both may be true. So this is how you are happy and this is how our medicines work as long as the doctor is good. That's why in the olden days, Doctors were supposed to be the wisest people in society. Today, who are the doctors? One who can mug the best and vomit the best, get the seat, is one rank, he becomes a doctor. And these doctors don't do well at all. I have kept an audit of my teaching for 50 years now. And those students whom we had a lot of effort to push them out to the medical school, they become wonderful doctors. All over the world, I tell you, they are the best doctors. I have some of my students who are the ace performers in India. I call them illustrated doctors. All of you know if I mention their name. They were the worst students. Very, very difficult to get them, push them out to the medical school. We had to use sometimes crane to get them up. But they did very well because they were wise. They were not knowledgeable, they were wise. Because you should be wise. Knowledge doesn't help you. You must think. That's why one of the greatest wise people in the world, Johanna von Goethe, said this, I quote, I now know physiology, philosophy, jurisprudence, medicine, even alas theology from end to end with labor scheme. Here I stand, O fool, with all my lore, no wiser than before. Remember that? I can say I am this, I am that, this, blah, 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 blah. I learnt my lesson in the medical college, of course. I was not asking teachers all sorts of questions and getting blamed for that. But I did this, that, and all that, what our friend said, all that rubbish. And then I became a big man. I was very young. One day, a chap was brought dead at 2 o'clock in the morning to our hospital, government hospital. So my boys called me and said, sir, you better come, sir. He is very young, he is 35 years, he is brought dead here, but his wife doesn't believe he is dead. So she is forcing us to do something. We can't convince her, please come, sir. So 2 o'clock in the morning, so I went and I didn't put on my shoe because it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I had a chappal. As I walked in, this lady was rolling on the floor, I can understand, and she caught hold of my ankle like that, tight. And she asked me one profound question. She said, doctor, tell me, why did my husband die? See the question? She caught hold of, why did my husband die? He used to exercise regularly. He never used to overeat. He is very slim. He's not a diabetic. He's not a hypertensive. He used to get his cholesterol done every second day. Why did he die? I didn't know the answer. I said, you bloody fool. You say you're a cardiologist, you're trained here, you're trained there. You can't answer the silly question of a young woman who lost her husband. If she had asked, how did my husband die, doctor? I would have said, oh, your coronary arteries are blocked, this happened, that happened, this happened, that. But not why. Then I said, I'm a bloody fool, I must learn again. And I started learning. And then en route, somewhere I read this wise statement of a great scientist who was a professor of physiology. In the year 1899, when he was 42 years old, he became the professor of physiology in Liverpool University. His name is Charles Sherrington. Charles wrote, positive sciences can never answer the question why. They can at best answer the question how or how much. Ratio re is not therefore reason why. To know that why, you must go beyond positive science. What a beautiful thought. And why can be only answered in teleology. Teleology. Why are we here? You have to go into teleology. No science will tell you. You have to go to philosophy. You have to go into everything under the sun of human wisdom. And that's where I became a bloody fool. I understood I was a bloody fool. No examiner told me I was a bloody fool. That day, that lady told me, you are a bloody fool. I thank her profusely. Of course, I told her so many things, all bluff. We do that because you have to help patients. I always tell them, people are worried. So I said, why worry? Everybody has to die someday. Let us say, you have to die, but what's there? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You want to go to Moksha now? And you are a very good man. Your account in the God's book must be so good that you go to Moksha. You are permanently happy. Why bother about this world where so much problems are there? Perchance, God's accountant did some mistake. You went to hell. So many of your friends are there. Why are you worried? You are happy there also. So either way you are happy. So dying is very easy. Now of course I will tell you, dying is still easier because this Bruce Lipton's molecular biology studies, cell biology has taught you what life is, what death is. And after finding out what life is and what death is, this man became a believer. He resigned his job as a professor of anatomy and he wrote a book called Biology of Belief. Read that book, Biology of Belief. Bruce Lipton. Lipton, you know, T. Lipton. Add Bruce to that. And Bruce says so beautifully. He saw the zygote, put it in a live medium, And he was watching it. It was growing. At one stage, it just got like an electric current, and then it became live. And after that, if you put a drop of good nutritious food to the petri dish, the cell will go and eat that. Supposing he dropped a poison on the other side, cell will run away from it. And then he saw that was the time, every cell has an antenna, which is called the integral membrane protein in our language. Our language is a very silly language. That's the antenna which connects to the universal consciousness. That is what we call as God, the spirit, or what have you. And then you become alive. On the day that spirit leaves you, you get died. But that spirit will go and attach it to another zygote immediately without any loss of time. And this he is now comparing human life in that book to a television screen. You switch on the television screen, Hema Malini is dancing. Is she in the box? Time ho gaya kya? V1 plus 0. Hypertension, diabetes, status, cancer. Come to that, man. Come to that. Whoever wrote that has not been attentive, because I was only talking about cancer, hypertension, diabetes. I know what he wanted, like a medical textbook lecture, hypertension is blood pressure when it is elevated, so about this, and hypertension, you give the antihypertensive, the blood pressure comes down, etc., etc. I'm not saying. No. Diseases should not be classified by different names. All I am talking is disease and health. What is health? Enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate. That's called health. What is disease? Dis-ease, when there is no ease. Where? In the mind. Where is the mind? In the body. So there is no ease in the mind. That's all. I don't know what hypertension is, or what you are talking about hypertension, because I don't know what blood pressure is. See, if you know quantum physics, the physics professor will teach you laminar flowing fluid cannot exert lateral pressure, because if it does, it can't flow. It is called cosine 90 0. You mug it up in PUC and pass the PUC with the credit and go to the medical college. Professor of physiology says blood pressure is the lateral pressure exerted on the vessel wall by the flowing blood. Exactly opposite. You mug it. What is this? And what is